Hello, students. Now we will start our September month. I'm glad to tell you that we have finished 5 months current affairs. We started our journey with October month, right? October, November, then we went back to June, July, and finally August. So we have finished 5 months and around 1100 facts and all we have done. What I'll suggest you, if you're watching the video for the first time, this particular video, I'll suggest you to, particularly if you start watching the videos or the session right from the start, in every session I have divided the lessons into, every month I have divided into 5 sessions, right? You must be knowing that. So if 5 sessions, and every session there are subparts, and very structurally it is done. Like first part is indexes, location, permanent. Then some of them have tribes also. In the second parts, all the governance portion is there. In the third part, international relations is there. In the fourth part, 3 parts: economy, ecology, and polity. In the fifth part, there is science. There is art and culture, and then finally it is defense. So if you are starting now, you can watch October session 1, then you watch November session 1. So I'm telling you to study session wise. Okay, so study session wise rather than the part wise, rather than the month wise. If you're starting now, so you'll be able to see October first session, then November first session, then July first session, like that, June first session, then July first session, like that. Secondly, there was a question, some of the aspirant was saying that economy, sir, economy, many things are really fast and the concepts are not clear. So I'll tell you that this is just a current affair classes, right? So I expect you to complete your static syllabus from your static reading. However, with respect to the some of the aspirants, some have told me that sir, you should go ahead and discuss some of the concepts in the economy section itself. That is why from August month itself, I have dedicated 2 sessions, around 1 hour of classes of economy. So I'll be taking up discussions, I'll be taking up some of the things, but obviously it's a current affair class. I cannot go too much into depth of the static. However, I'll cover relevant concepts here. Okay. So with that being said, let's start our September month, the first session. So in the first session, this month we have some tribes as well for you, along with the indexes and the locations that we always do. So we'll also discuss the tribes, right? So now quickly we'll start our indexes and reports, first of international domain. Okay, the first one is Commodity and Development Report 2019. So it is being launched by UNCTAD. In this particular month, in the international affairs, we'll talk about one of the groupings called commodities dependent countries. So this particular report talks about the two-way relationship between commodities and the climate change. So first of all, it talks about the commodities, how dependence on the one commodity. I will tell you one homework I'll also give you to read about Dutch disease. Okay, read about Dutch disease. The same thing I've told in the international affair when you'll see the videos there on YouTube. So read about Dutch disease and comment in the comment box. Okay. So this particular report talks about, first of all, dependence on the one commodity. If a country is dependent on one commodity, then it becomes susceptible to the international prices. And when it is dependent on the international prices, it hurts the political stability of the country. For example, countries like Venezuela, countries like Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia has maintained its authority through dictatorship, the totalitarian regime. Okay. Now coming to this particular report, this talks about the climate change and says the climate crisis could see the collapse of some economy without diversification. Because one of the problems with the commodity dependent economy is the problem of the diversification. They don't have the diversification in their economy. What does diversification means? That means that apart from the commodity, they are not dependent upon anything else. For example, Indian economy is not only having agriculture, having manufacturing in so many sectors. For example, auto sector is down, but however, other sector is doing well. Pharma sector is doing well, for example. Now, these economy are all dependent upon one particular commodity, whether it be oil. Some countries are dependent upon coal, some are dependent upon gas, some are dependent upon diamonds, something like that. Right? First thing is that. Second thing is that one example of Dubai is always given. Dubai. So Dubai was commodity driven, right? That it has a lot of oil. But now you can see Dubai's efforts to promoting tourism. They have a huge tourist attraction. In fact, Dubai is one of the attracts one of the highest tourists around the world. So they are diversifying their economics, and that is why the role of India also comes in, because India has a good experience in diversification of its economy, and that is why India and Middle East relationships are built on this premise, right? Okay, so we should not go ahead too much into mains, and we'll finish our task here. So this particular report, remember, it is by the UNCTAD, Commodity Dependent and the Climate Change and the Paris Agreement. They talk about the relationship of the climate change with respect to the commodities, single commodity driven countries. Okay. Next is Trade and Development Report, again by UNCTAD, Trade and Development Report. So the report sets out the series of measures and reforms that would lead in financing the global Green New Deal. Right. The first report was also related to the climate change, and the second report is related to the trade and the idea of climate change. How the Green New Deal. Green New Deal is basically, if the question comes on this, we have discussed basically New Deal. So it is basically financing the economy in a sustainable way, in a very crux, in a very layman terms, right? Okay, so this trade development reports discuss about the topic of the report. It can be asked. It's very it will be a peripheral question, because the report itself is relevant. If the question on UN the report comes, more or less the question will revolve around the UNCTAD. But however, they can ask you the theme of the report as well, especially if it is related to the climate change, right? So the topic is financing the global new deal. Okay. Next is status of the world's soils resource. Very quickly we'll finish. It is given by the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, headquartered in the Rome. In the very first session in October month, we have discussed FAO in detail. Okay. So remember, FAO releases this particular World Soils Resource Report. You can remember it by the way that soil on which the food grows, and that is why it is FAO. Okay. Next is Digital Competitive Index. So competitiveness index. Okay. So digital competitiveness index is released by a international management school. Okay. IMD. So it releases this world digital competitiveness ranking. It measures the capacity and the readiness of the 63 economies to adopt and explore the digital technology. What is capacity and readiness? So capacity means in terms of infrastructure. Okay. And readiness means whether the people have digital literacy or not, whether all the resources are to dispose, all the infrastructure is laid down, but if you do not have the capacity to use those resources, what is the benefit? So India has risen 4 points on this particular index. It started in 2017, and in 2019 rank, India has risen to the 44th place. Okay. Right. So the first country in this index is USA. This is as much we need to remember. Remember, this is not a ITU, because if the question comes in, definitely if they won't give IMD, then they will give the second option as ITU. But this is not related to the ITU. So here, if you see India's rank, we have gone 4 points better. Last time we had 48 rank, and the rank 1 is USA. Right. This much is enough for us. Next is Travel and Tourism Index. So this is particularly World Economic Forum Index. This index is really relevant from the mains perspective as well. So if you talk about the indicators, for example, we have to read the indicators. So if any questions on tourism comes, so these indicators can give you a good subheadings to prepare. That is enabling infrastructure. So what are the 4 indicators they talk about? On which basis they come up with this particular report? First is enabling environment. Second, tourism and trade, travel and tourism policy and enabling condition. Third is infrastructure, and fourth is the natural and cultural resources. And the subheadings you don't have to remember. So remember, just the 4 headings are there, very common heading. You don't have to remember even that. Just have in mind. Okay, so first of all, once in 2 years, this report is published by the World Economic Forum, and these things we have seen. Now, what about India's position? So India currently ranks at 34th on this particular rank. Interestingly, you need to remember the first rank in it. So first rank is of Spain. Spain having one of the highest deaths in the coronavirus also right now. So Spain is number 1, France, Germany, Japan, you can see here, and India is at 34. So these 2 to 3 things we need to know, and this much is relevant for us in the Trade and Travel Index. Next is, last time we have done one of the report of IPCC related to the land. If you remember, the one special report was there. This time, the special report is on the ocean and the cryosphere in the changing climate. So, cryosphere, the question has already been asked in the mains UPSC, right? The significance of the cryosphere in the climate change. I think the question was on those lines. So, this particular reports talk about the ocean and the cryosphere in the climate changing, a summary for the policymakers. So, IPCC we have already discussed. We have discussed the land report of the IPCC, and this particular report is also given by the IPCC, apart from its regular assessment report, that is always that the other reports that it gives, the main reports of IPCC. Right. Next is international migrant stock. So from the name itself, it gives the stock or the statistics about the migrants all over the world. So it is released by UNDESA, okay, Department of Economic and Social Affairs, UN United Nations. So the one of the main thing that you have to remember that India is the top source of immigration across the globe. So that means that from India, the maximum number of outflow is from India. So maximum number of people go from the other country, go to other countries from India. So India has emerged as the leading country for the origin of immigrants across the world. Okay, around 17.5 million, means 1.75 crore people from India go to the other places, which is increased from around 1.6 crores from 2015. Right. So few more things. So within India, if we talk about, we'll talk about in the next time. So while India remains a top source of immigrants, the migrants living in India saw a decline. For example, that is the migrants that are in India. For example, many people are going out of India. So, but however, many people are coming into India as well. So the people coming in India has declined. Okay, so from 2015. So this one detail, if they ask you specific question, that will be a relatively counterintuitive. Okay, and one more thing they have given, the people coming into India, the maximum is from the Bangladesh. People coming from India, coming into India, sorry, right? Okay, so after India, the second country which is there from which the people go, that is Mexico. Okay, the hostage country is the European region, hosted the highest number of immigrants, followed by the North America. So these are the few details that we need to keep in mind, right? So just to summarize it for you, so India is the highest from where the people go outward. Second is Mexico, right, within India, and also this population has increased from 2015 to 2019. First thing is that. Second thing is that incoming population in India, the highest is from Bangladesh, and the population has declined from 2015 to 2019. Right? This is what it is written there. Okay. Next is report on the hidden environmental, health and poverty cost. So this particular report is published by the Food and Land Use Coalition, a collaboration of food farming and green research groups have released this. So collaboration of the civil society has released, and they have kept this cost as $12 million. They have said this is the hidden cost to the environment, health and the poverty in India. Okay, so basically they talk about that if this is the current method of food production, consumption and land use cost us this, and it causes an irreversible damage to our ecosystem, and if it is not actions are not taken, the cost can rise to $16 trillion by 2050. Right, so they talk about changing the patterns of how we produce our food. We have also talked about the economic survey, right, from land based last time they have given this particular keyword land based productivity to we have moved to the water based productivity. So this is the same conclusion that is drawn from this particular report as well. Okay, so just remember the name of the organization. That's what you need to remember. So a coalition of the civil society groups named as Food and Land Use Coalition. Remember, not FAO. That is what we have to differentiate. So last time there was a report, last year there was a report named Inclusive Wealth Report. Why I'm discussing that? Because there is an Inclusive Development Index. So just differentiate this from that. Okay, so Inclusive Development Index is published by the World Economic Forum. We'll discuss that somewhere, but don't confuse. Inclusive Wealth Report is by the UNEP, United Environment and its partner. Okay, it is a nation ability to look after its wealth in a sustainable way and safeguard the future generation. That's all. So that report talks about the Gini coefficients and the wealth, the inequality of the wealth among the nations. And this was the report I was talking about, Inclusive Development Index. So this is by the World Economic Forum. Okay. So this much is you need to keep in mind. Next is oil demand report. So last time we have discussed about OPEC, right? With the mnemonic, we have tried to discuss we'll try to remember the 13 countries, current 13 countries of OPEC. So this monthly oil market report, this comes by the OPEC. Now, recently, why it is this was in the news in the September month, because it comes out every time, but this is what the latest thing we need to keep in mind. So OPEC slashes oil demand outlook for 2020 as the coronavirus outbreak stifles China, and also now increasing its footprints into India as well, right? Next is state of food security and nutrition in the world. So this particular report is a joint preparation of you can see these many organizations. So prepared by FAO, International Fund for Agriculture Development, UNICEF, World Food Program, and WHO. So remember, not a single organization, but the coalition of the organization here. Theme: safeguarding against the economic slowdown and the downturns. Okay. So next is a trend. World hunger rises to the third year in row. So few of the details that we need to keep, very few details, because if the question comes, the majority of the question will revolve around the organizations that are presenting. Few of the conclusions that are there, that's I'm not kept it here, but for example, the says that threat of malnutrition is rising, threat of hidden hunger is rising. So all these things they are saying. So one thing that we counterintuitively can miss out, that is the world hunger is rising in the third year in a row. Okay, so this is what you need to, especially post corona. So all the things will be take a adverse turn, right? So this report introduces a new indicator for monitoring SDG target 2.1, the prevalence of the moderate and the severe food security insecurity based upon the food insecurity experience scale. So they will make they will make this particular indicator, that is food insecurity experience scale. So based upon this scale, they will monitor the target of SDG 2.0, because SDG 2 is related to the hunger, right? Zero hunger, target of zero hunger. So they have made this particular indicator for monitoring the target of SDG, right? Okay. So yeah, some of the highlights, as I was telling you, that more than 820 million are still hungry, underscoring the immense challenge of zero hunger by 2020, right? In the West Asia, so the continuous increasing to undernourishment. We have seen the figures of India, where the stunting, wasting, anemia figures are really poor, right? Okay, so just you have to remember the organization's new parameter that they have evolved for measuring the SDG to SDG target, and that's all. Okay, now we coming to some of the indexes of the India. So we have seen around 10 plus indexes of 11 indexes of international. Now we'll see few, not very much, but few indexes of India also, right? The first is the ARIA, that is Atal Ranking of Institution on Innovation and Achievement. From the name itself, two things, right? So innovation is there, and if the Atal name is there, so we know Atal Innovation Mission is by the Niti Aayog, right? And there we can get it wrong. So remember, it is by the MHRD. It is not by Niti Aayog independently, right? So by the MHRD initiative that is what you need to remember, right? So why? Because if this is there, then the examiner also knows that this is the point, we can forget the thing, and this is what you need to keep in mind. Okay, so that's an MHRD initiative to systematically rank the education institution universities primarily on the innovation related indicators. Okay, so a ranking of the institutions on the basis of the innovation criteria. For example, they have decided what are the different weightage should be given, 7 parameters that they have decided. For example, budget, infrastructure, promotion and supporting entrepreneurship development, innovative learning method, and all this. So we don't have to cram this. Okay, so if the question comes around ARIA, it will be focused on which are the institute, what they want to do. And just remember, there are 7 plus indicators, and the indicators are very generic. We all know that. or we can all build upon that, because we cannot cram each and everything, right? We have to selectively focus what is important for our exam. So in the rank 1 comes IIT Madras, interestingly, before the IIT Bombay itself, with respect to innovation and the research. Okay. Next is All India Survey of Higher Education. So again, it is by the MHRD. When? So MHRD does it on the annual basis from 2010 to 11. From 2011, they are doing this particular survey. This is a very credible source for us to quote in the examination when we talk about the higher education statistics coverage. So covers all the higher education institution in the country, which are categorized into 3 categories, that is university, college, and the standalone institutions. Okay. So indicators, what are the indicators that have been taken into account? That is institutional density, gross enrollment ratio, people to child ratio, gender parity index per student expenditure. Gender parity index to take that into account the gender inequality in the higher education. Okay. Right. So this is important. So these 5 indicators. So just have in mind what will be the uh, indicators. So how many students are, how many institutes are nearby. So that will decide by the institution's density. Then how much students are getting into it. So gross enrollment ratio. Then people to child ratio, people to teacher ratio. Then gender parity index. Then per student expenditure. What institution is doing the per student expenditure. Okay. Next is and this is the portal of All India Higher Education Survey of Higher Education. Okay. And this is the different parameters. I was telling you different parameters. So these are the 3 parameters. There are other parameters are along the way. Right. Next is National Nutrition Survey. So National Nutrition Survey has been carried out by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and UNICEF. So the first study taken to measure the malnutrition, including the micronutrient deficiency is the first study through biochemical measures such as blood and urine samples. So they will do it by the sample collection, more scientific way of checking the micronutrient structure of the children. Okay. And plus anthropometric data, as well as the details of the non-communicable disease, such as they will ask about the diabetics, hypertension, cholesterol, kidney function, all this. So the reports of the nutritional survey, as we all know, the things are not in the right direction for India. We have taken the initiatives like Poshan Abhiyan and all. However, because we have seen many surveys, right, on this parameter, whether it be done by government or the private institutions, they all talk about the high number of children and the adolescents who are nutritionally deficient. Okay, that is what called hidden hunger, right? Okay, so you don't have to remember the details of it. Just remember the nutritional survey carried out with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare along with the UNICEF. Okay. Next is Leeds Index. Leeds Index is basically based upon the Leeds Index given by the World Bank. Okay. So there is a Logistics Performance Index, LPI Index of World Bank. So based upon the LPI Index of the World Bank, we have developed our own logistic ease across the different index. Okay, it is based upon the stakeholder survey conducted by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is the Piyush Goyal, that is the minister. So what it looks at, the logistics bottleneck, because in India the logistics they take up the huge chunk of the money in the whole trade process. The logistics cost of India is really huge. Okay, what is logistics? We have already discussed. I think logistics includes itself not only the transportation but also the inventory, the supply chain management. Okay, so all these things consider as the logistics. So that is why the Leeds Index is basically to motivate the states to improve their logistical efficiency. So first rank we need to remember is of Gujarat, then Punjab, then Andhra. More importantly, the Gujarat is important. The parameters were infrastructure, availability, quality, time, delivery time, and tracking. Right. So expanding our India's exports globally footprint, because if the logistics cost is less, then only our cost of our production will be less, and when the cost of our production will be less, then only our export competitiveness will increase. Right. The next is India Iodine Survey. So this particular India Iodine Survey is conducted by the Nutritional International in collaboration with the AIMS and the Indian Coalition for Control of Iodine Deficiency, disorder. So Nutritional International will see in the international affairs uh, video that Nutrition International NGO is basically there. Okay, so this survey tested the tested the iodine content in the samples of the cooking salt from the households to estimate the coverage of the iodized salt. Okay, so some good results are there. 13 out of 36 states have already achieved the universal salt iodinization to have 90% of the household with the adequate iodized salt. So 13 states are doing really well with respect to they have achieved it completely, right? So iodine deficiency leads to the problems such as goiter, hyperthyroidism, right? Abortion, stillbirth, mental retardation, and some psychomotor defects. That is deficiency of iodine. That is why many of the ads in the childhood we have seen iodine yukt namak, right? The iodine, the salts that have iodine content in them. The children born in the cognitive iodine deficient area may have up to 13.5 IQ point less. That means the cognitive skills. The cognitive skills of the children can also be an issue if iodine content is there, less there. Okay? Okay. Right. Next is the last thing we're going to see on Indian perspective. The perspective urban rural epidemiology, that is pure study. This study name is pure. Okay, so it is conducted on the prospective cohort study that collects the data on the social, environmental, and individual risk factors and the chronic disease among the resident of 25 country in the range of 35 to 70 country living in both rural and the living urban area. That means it takes up the data and it calculates the risk factor. So it contains two reports. First report is related to the common disease and hospitalization and death, and second disease is specific to the cardiovascular disorder. So second species specifically talks about the cardiovascular disorder, and they find out that in India, household air pollution, because now the air pollution component at the household level that is also coming out is the as the big problem. So household air pollution, that is the air pollution inside the household, and one of the contributing factor in the rural areas was the use of the biomass for the cooking purposes is a great risk for the CVD in area than the diabetics, tobacco use, and other low physical activity. Okay, so in India, they have come up with this particular analysis. While in the high income countries, death from the cancer is twice that of CVD. However, the low income countries such as India, cardiac disease is 3 times more mortality rate is than cancer. So cardiovascular disorders are having a huge cost in posting a huge cost in the low income countries. Okay, so it is just because of the problem is increased because of the factors such as quality healthcare, lack of insurance leading to the high mortality. Right, that's it. One thing I missed out this particular pure study. This pure study is conducted by the institute called Lancet. Lancet comes up with the different researches and studies on base, especially with respect to the problem of health. Many of the studies that you have seen of Lancet on air pollution, that air pollution cost India this percent of GDP and all this. The Lancet is the institution that conducted this particular pure study, that is the Lancet. Okay, so this is that for our September month. So in the next video, we'll talk about the locations in the news. Till then, thank you everyone, and we'll see you in the next class.